Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to do just a short deck profile of a deck that I took to locals this last week. I came second. The deck performed well, just had one draw in the final round to Volcanics of all things, just the game kind of dragged on a bit, but otherwise the deck was pretty good and kind of want to show off what I'm testing in preparation for YCS Sydney. So I know I'm definitely playing something involving the Fiendsmith cards, of course. So we're on 3 Engraver, a Lacrima, a Lurry. We're on 3 Tracked in this build, 1 Fiendsmith in Paradise, because we are playing the magical Musketeer cards. So I was just testing these out. I'm just trying to test all the different options to try and find what I think works best for me. Yeah, so the Musketeer cards work really well as just being extra bodies. Specifically to kind of help with the Bystials. So I'm playing the Bystials in this deck. I don't generally like the Bystials alongside just the Fiendsmith cards. So I'm playing 1 Mag, 1 Druis, 1 Boldrake, and a Regained. Because, and this is only obviously when things are going perfectly, but going first, things are going perfectly and you're just using the Fiendsmith engine. The Bystials themselves, you don't really want to banish your Light Fiends out of grave. It works best when you open with something like Engraver specifically, because you end up with 1 Engraver spare at the end once you've resolved the whole combo. So then you can use the Bellion, Magdalene, and kind of set that up. Having the Musketeers is just an extra layer, I guess. There's extra Light Fiends that you can play, so that you're happy to banish. One thing you can do with the Musketeers as well, if you're able to kind of resolve Starfire as well and just get some extra bodies into the graveyard, is you can actually go through. You can set up Caesar first and then go into Sequence and Desiree, which is a play that I did a number of times. Having Caesar alongside Desiree, plus the full Fiendsmith set up in the grave, feels really strong. But otherwise, that's the main engine. Obviously, I'm counting the Bystials as part of the non-engine as well, because these are great cards, this format, obviously, for countering the meta too, specifically the Fiendsmith cards. But for non-engine, mostly hand traps, but with a few board breakers in there as well. I'm on 3 Nibiru and 3 Phantasme. These are both monsters that stick themselves to the field, which is great for Fiendsmith players as well. Then we're playing 3 Ash, 3 Vela. Currently testing Droll as well. So these are the hand traps. Obviously we're playing Bystials alongside that as well. But that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 hand traps already, which is a crazy number. Droll is something I'm testing more so because I don't have access to most of the Ultimate cards. So Droll is just something that I can kind of play without worrying about a clash between the Droll and the Chummies. And it's not a terrible card, but something that I'm just testing for sure. And then I'll spend a little bit of time talking about this card, Spell Card Monster Reborn. This is very quickly becoming one of my favorite cards in this format. Now, obviously, going second, its application is a lot more limited because it's a quick play spell. It's obviously not a hand trap, but it essentially functions like a Bystial. The card reads, target a monster in either graveyard, special summon it to your field, but for the rest of this turn it cannot attack and neither player can activate its effects. You can only activate this once per turn. So it kind of acts like a Bystial. But it's also a really cool extender. So at the moment, obviously, there's a lot of Fiendsmith running around. I'm expecting in most tournaments to run into Fiendsmith a number of times. And so Spellcard Monster Reborn kind of functions a little bit like Lullaby of Obedience in that, like going second, you can use this to take a Light Fiend out of their graveyard and then do the full Fiendsmith combo. Works even better if you're taking something like their Lacrima or their Requiem out of their graveyard. To kind of start your Fiendsmith plays, but also interrupt the Lacrima, Requiem, Fiendsmith in Paradise line. So you can use it disruptively like that. You can also use it proactively to start combos. It can be used if you're going first and you get Bystialed, or if you get Bystialed at any point. This can counter the Bystial, because they use your Bystial, you chain this and take the monster out of the graveyard and put it onto the field. So it kind of works better than your own Bystial, because your Bystial is still going to banish your Light Fiend, which you don't really want banished, but this puts it back onto the field. It's got some other really cool applications. Obviously, one thing that I think is really interesting is that in something like Malice, when they're going to try and banish Malice monsters out of the graveyard, you can take it and summon it to the field. Now, it's not, again, it's it's different to a Bystial in that you're not banishing their monster, you're actually putting it on your field. Yes, they can still get access to it if they get it off your field, but yeah, I might make a video about this later, but this is just a card that I've been testing a lot. I personally just think it's really cool, and I'm probably overhyping it a lot, but Spell Card Monster Reborn, really cool card. It came up a number of times at the most recent locals too, again, specifically against the Fiendsmith engine, and it really put in some work. So definitely a card you should try out. And obviously going first as well, you can just set it and it becomes a pretty good disruption also. The last 3 cards, just 2 talents and a call by for a total of 41 cards in the deck. So mostly non-engine, but then like cards like the talents, the Bystials, and the Spell Card Monster Reborn, these are all cards that effectively play as engine as well at the same time. So like we're kind of using the non-engine to kind of be engine also. The extra deck, nothing too crazy. It's 2 Requiem, a sequence, Agnum Day, Underworld Goddess. This is something I'm testing. This is just a proxy. I wasn't using this at the most recent locals. I'm struggling to remember what I was actually playing in that spot, but it might have been a second Desiree, something like that. But yeah, something that I'm testing to see if it's worth considering. Moon, SP, Liner, and Max for the Link monsters. Then we're on the Desiree and the Necro Quip Princess, of course. The Caesar and the Typhon, of course. And Chaos Angel to round out the extra deck. Mostly, I think, pretty self-explanatory choices. And my side deck hasn't changed from the last time I did a profile on Fiendsmith stuff, but it's Lancia, it's Perulia, it's Talent, Thrust, Duster, Sanctum, D-Barrier, Strike. Nothing too crazy there, but definitely try out the Spell Card Monster Reborn if you have not. I rate it really highly. I think it's interesting. Definitely deserves a test. But otherwise, that is the Fiendsmith, Musketeer, Bystial build that you can certainly give a go at any upcoming events. But otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one.